Hello, I'm coming to you from my office in the Rayburn House office building just across the street from the Capitol. And I've come today to express my great concern over what is going on with this administration in giving out hundreds of millions and even total of billions to their close friends and contributors. This is going on in this administration to a shocking extent, far more than any other administration in the history of this country. In fact, I've never seen anything like it. A federal grand jury has now launched an investigation into the Solyndra Corporation, a solar company that's filed for bankruptcy. They filed in September and dismissed 1,100 employees. It received a $535 million loan guarantee and a fast-track process pushed by the president. And Ambassador Alan Oxley has a column in today's Washington Times, and he says this, quote, "The fundamental flaw of the Department of Energy loan program was its promotion of green energy that isn't viable on the open market. Not only did the federal government offer specific loans to these companies, it also pushed for energy standards that only the industries they funded could meet. The result was to prop up a company, indeed an entire industry, that otherwise would be uncompetitive." And these loans and loan guarantees are going to people who have raised big money or who have contributed big money to the president. Another example is one that Mark Levin talked about on his national radio program last night. The U.S. Navy was forced to buy 450,000 gallons of an alternative biofuel from a company that's connected to the president at a price of $16 per gallon. It was the biggest purchase of biofuel by the federal government ever, and standard fuel for the same purposes was costing less than $4 a gallon. According to the Investor's Business Daily, one of the quote, lucky sellers of this fuel is a California company that one of its top officials was a senior member of the president's presidential transition team, and who also worked on the energy sector portion of the 2009 stimulus bill for the president. The Department of Energy awarded a $737 million loan to a green company known as Solar Reserve to build a solar thermal project in Nevada. One of Solar Reserve's biggest investors is a company whose number two is Ronald Pelosi, the brother-in-law to the Speaker of the House. One of Solar Reserve's other major investors is an equity firm that is trying to recoup money that they lost from investing in Solyndra. So all these things seem to be tied in together. The Weekly Standard reported that President Obama held a big money fundraiser at the home of Tom Carnahan recently, who is his chief Missouri fundraiser, and he's the current chairman of the board of Wind Capital Group. That company then received, or happened to receive, a $107 million credit from the Treasury Department. And you go on and on. The Obama administration recently gave a $433 million no-bid contract to billionaire Ronald Perelman. This was reported on the front page of the Chicago Tribune in the middle of November. His company, Sega Technologies, was given a contract, quote, to try an experimental smallpox drug despite uncertainty over whether it is needed or will work. And one email that they found from a contracting officer who was given the assignment to manage price negotiation between the federal government and Sega was shocked at the cost. Sega's return on investment was over 180%, and other Health and Human Services officials agreed this was too much, but then the CEO got in touch with high-level administration officials and to demand the removal of the contract officer, and the contract officer who had complained about the cost being too much was replaced, and this bloated, unnecessary contract, no bid $433 million contract, was then signed. The failing solar company SunPower received a $1.2 billion federal loan guarantee to build an electricity farm just hours before the loan program expired, and after the company announced they would build the panels for the farm at a factory in Mexico. The company now has nearly $1 billion in debt. And Human Events, the nationwide publication, said if it were a bank, the feds would shut it down. Instead, this company received a guarantee twice the size of Solyndra, and once again, people well connected to the administration, supporters and contributors to this administration. And I can tell you, small things, maybe some jobs have been given to qualified people for positions in government, but when you talk about giving out loans and loan guarantees and contracts worth hundreds of millions, or in one case even 1.2 billion, and I could go on with some other examples, but this is sort of the tip of the iceberg that I know about, and I wonder, that I've read about, and I wonder how many other things there are like this. And no administration, Democrat or Republican, has ever done this to the extent it's being done in this administration now. And it's a terrible thing to do to the taxpayers, especially in a country such as ours, which is over $15 trillion in debt, and yet we keep spending money like there's no tomorrow, apparently especially to those who have contributed to or been strong political supporters of the president. And I just think it's terrible, and this type of thing shouldn't go on in this country.